Hey everybody, welcome back to the Energy Therapy Podcast. My name is Tony. I'm an energy therapist and trauma doula, and I'm here to support you in becoming who you were meant to be before trauma told you who you were. And welcome to the January collective messages. And January is a bit intense, I will say that. January is something. So I have my little notebook here with the collective energies that I have written down of what is going on this month. These are a collective of dream messages and energies that have been coming up for a bit now, and I think this time frame has everything kind of coming to a head. With that being said, the first message and the, I think, deepest message at this time is to be their karma. Be their karma. I think with some of the energies that are going around at this moment, many of you have been playing the nice friend, the good friend, the friend who's always there, the person that always has everybody's back in every situation, the person who shows up and shows out consistently, right? You have this consistent, down to earth, I'm going to give what I've always wanted to receive, and I'm going to give what I believe a friend and a person in community should be giving. And yet, the people that you have been giving to haven't been appreciating what you're giving. They've seen you showing up and being there and consistently being the shoulder to cry on, consistently being the person who they can come to at any time, consistently just being down and being a positive influence in people's lives. They've started to see that as not just something they deserve, or at least this other party, not just something they deserve, but like, why wouldn't you do that for me? And also there's this sense of like, I know I don't have to do anything for you to do this for me. I can be bare minimum king or queen over here, and you will still continue to pour out your energy, pour out your love, pour out your support because you're a kind person. And I know I can do the absolute bare minimum, and I don't have to show up for you. I don't have to support you that much. I can just, kind of give you a little every now and again, and you're going to continue to be here for me. You're going to continue to show up because that's who you are. Okay? That's the person you are. And I think that's the thing to take at this moment is that, yeah, you are the supportive friend. Yeah, you're the person that shows up and shows out for people. You think about people. You're thoughtful. You're considerate. Okay? And because of that, you are starting to be surrounded by takers, by people who know that they don't have to do much for you. And in return, like, they can put a drop of water in, they're going to get the ocean because you have that to give. And frankly, you deserve more. You deserve what they've been giving. You deserve more than what they've been giving. And at this point in time, setting boundaries, and I know this one is hard for a lot of you, but setting boundaries and truly becoming their karma is the best thing you can do for yourself, right? Okay? And I say that all to say that sometimes you are taking people's karma on yourself by not putting up those boundaries. Because what happens is they're treating you like a piece of crap and not considering you in their lives except for when they need something. And instead of you recognizing that, maybe this person doesn't treat me well, you essentially chase behind them because you think, well, maybe if I do this and maybe if I do that, they'll treat me better. Or they're just going through a hard time right now, so I just need to be there for them. And yet, when you're in your dark hours, they're not showing up. When you are going through stuff, okay, that you don't even have someone to call and talk about that stuff with right now, even though you got 5 people right now that can call you anytime and you'd be there. That's a problem. That's an energy leak. That's a hole in your energy that is not getting put back inside of you. And these people that are takers, maybe if you were just to cut them off, okay, just give yourself a little experiment with this with me, okay? Maybe if you were to cut them off, they would have to deal with some consequences for being the selfish people that they have been. Maybe you recognize how real you are, and they would recognize, now I'm around a bunch of people who are like me and who don't show up. And that's not to say that this person comes back and starts being like, I'm sorry, that you just automatically are like open arms, ready to accept this energy back in. Because again, it was the saying, if they wanted to, they would. I don't care if it's a friend or a lover or a family member. If they valued you, you would know. If they respected you, you would know. If they cared about you, they would show up. And obviously, there are extenuating circumstances, but if the entire time you've known this person has been extenuating circumstances where they never show up for you, and think about it like this, and this is kind of the thing that is important. How do people show up when you're going through it? And who shows up when you're going through it? And who shows up to celebrate you? And who shows up for both, no matter what? Up and down, left and right. Who's showing up? And if right now it's no one, that's okay. That just means your circle needs to get a little bit smaller so you can make room for people who know you deserve more. Because the real ones this year, 2025, is not a year to have people around you who take more than they give. It's not a year to be around people who are non-reciprocal. Okay? So it's kind of like a tough message. I think that's why it's coming out kind of later. Because January has a lot of hard-hitting energy, and this year I think has a lot of hard-hitting energy. With it being a number 9 year, it's a year of completion, it's a year of endings, and 9 is like the universal year of even humanity, and the energy of humanity and collective energy. And so decide who you want to be in your own collective, because that's going to be really important coming up here, is who you have in your circle. So if your circle already small, it's okay. Get out there, depending on the timing in your life and stuff like that. I don't know your transits. I don't know your specific energy. But get out there and start to do things you actively already enjoy and love, or find those things and start to align with people who have more in common with you. On a deeper level, who have more values that you value, right? And I don't mean peace, love, and happiness. I mean some people value the lives of children and believe that children have rights. Some people don't believe that at all. Some people believe children should be seen, not heard, and put to the side and all this. And if you are building a community, you should build a community of people who have the same values as you, and not try to be in community with these people that don't even value friendship or love or family enough to be reciprocal with someone who is kind, and giving, and all of those things that you are. So that is the biggest message for this month. And I think for this entire year is be their karma. Sometimes the cutoff, the distancing, that's the karma that they needed, and you're delaying it, and you're taking it on by choosing to keep them in your life or keep them in your field. Because all the repercussions they're supposed to be having, you're taking away, and you're taking on that negative impact, that energy. You're exchanging it, and you're giving something that they don't have. And look, they're empty, and this is what you just took, right? So recognize who's there when times are bad, who's there when times are good, and recognize the way that people support you. And if your friends are not supporting you, if your lover's not supporting you, if your family isn't supporting you, maybe then there is some distance that needs to be had. Obviously, this is a case-by-case basis. You know your life better than anybody knows your life. This is just a message. Take it as it resonates. Leave the rest, as we say. The other message that came through really strong is there is no tomorrow, right? Only yesterday waving a fond goodbye. And I think that's really important because it's recognizing that, like, you can remember yesterday. Tomorrow hasn't happened. And the only time that you have is right in this moment. And sometimes you're getting caught up in what's next, or what hasn't happened yet, or what you should do or could do, and all this stuff that you don't even know what's right here, right now, right in front of you, right in this moment to be done. So for instance, you wake up with a day where you have no plan, right? You have no plan. You don't have to be to work. You don't have to, there's nothing you have to do. You don't have to grocery shop, nothing. And you know that you've wanted to start Pilates, but instead of getting up and getting yourself some breakfast and doing the Pilates first thing so that you can get started on something that you truly want to invest your time and energy in, you sit, you curl up, you sit, you space out, you disassociate, and then you've wasted all your energy and time. And some of you may even have this tendency where you run around your house and start doing the dishes that you haven't done in a week because you're avoiding doing the Pilates or the yoga or the meditation or something in that vein that you've wanted to start doing. And now the dishes are done, but you didn't start the Pilates because you went to the laundry, right? And because it's something you want to do, you're putting it off because somewhere inside of you, you feel like you don't deserve to pursue things that are pleasurable or good for you, but simply because you want to do them, not because it's going to pay you, not because it's going to make your body look a certain way, not because just because you want to do it, just because you want to try it. And essentially that is some really deep sacral chakra trauma energy happening, because the sacral is that place of being open to pleasure and enjoyment for enjoyment's sake. That sensual, nice, fun energy simply because you want to. So often we're trying to make all of our hobbies make us money. And sometimes our hobbies just need to make our life, right? Sometimes our hobbies are just about being alive and experiencing something. And I recognize that as a person who is American and in the United States, that is not how we're taught to live. We're taught to, get up, go to school. Maybe you do an after school activity, but that's for extracurricular for college. And then go to work when you're, 16, and then go home. Maybe go to a bar or something at a certain point when you get a little bit older, but it's always like go to work, go spend some money somewhere, go home, go to work, go spend some money somewhere, go home. That is the life that we are pushed into, right? And so doing something just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of the love of it, just for the sake of it being fun or pleasurable or just like expressive, creative, is looked down on. It's like, oh, there's no money in that. Why did you do that? Or like, your hobby has to be like $10,000 a year. Like, hobbies don't have to be expensive. Some of the best hobbies are things that don't really cost that much. For instance, I think writing is a great hobby. Journaling is a great hobby. Yoga is a great hobby. If you don't have the money to go to a studio, there are hundreds, could be thousands, of yoga teachers and Pilates instructors on YouTube right now who have these things out there for free for you to start exploring and figuring out what you like and different things like that. Recognize that there's ways to do what you want to do. And once you start walking in the direction of that, you will be surprised by how the world opens up around you for you to be able to do those things. I find that to be true. Like, the world opens up at some point. The universe opens up so that you can pursue a different kind of life if you allow yourself to be open to it. And if you don't get in your head about it, because often there's this energy of getting in your head about something, like if you should be doing it. And honestly, that's just self-policing yourself. That's just talking yourself out of things that you want because there's someone, whether past or present, who has told you that it's not okay for you to want things or to desire things or to want to have fun. So that leads me to my next point directly, which is say goodbye to old friends, inner and outer, right? And when I say old friends, I mean like even the inner critic is a friend, right? At one point, the inner critic was a friend or a family member who criticized, and in a sense, sometimes they were trying to steer you in the right direction, right? If you're someone whose parents were heavy on like math homework or something, they're like, you need to do math homework and you need to become an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or you'll be a failure, or you need to, do these things or you're a failure, and your art career is never going to work out, and don't pursue this, don't pursue that. These are the only options you have. And this is the only thing that will make you legitimate. That energy is coming up very strongly. But when I say that, say goodbye to inner and outer friends. The inner critic is an energy within you that you have befriended and allowed to steer and direct your life. And essentially, it's time to say goodbye to that friend, right? That friend is not doing you any favors. So just like you have these people in the outer world that potentially don't support you, don't show up for you in good times or bad times, barely do anything that would be considered a friend, but somehow you're still their friend, or you're still their boyfriend, or you're still their girlfriend or whatever. And you barely expect anything at all, ever, because they're just like, give. And they're like, cool, yeah, I like this. Like, I don't have to do anything either. Okay. Essentially, it's the same. That inner critic is like, well, if I let this go, if I, this is all you deserve. This is all you get. Why do you think you deserve more? And some of you, I feel like, really can't answer that question. All right. And I just sat here talking about how you give and you're supportive and you show up for people and you think about people. And somehow when I said that question about the inner critic, Why do you think you deserve more? That didn't come to your head at all. And so in this recognition that there are parts of yourself that are lying to yourself about who you are and what you deserve and how you show up in the world. And it's time for you to recognize that you do deserve more. And, it starts with these boundaries. These boundaries are coming up very strong right now. So some of these boundaries are time boundaries. Some of these boundaries are energy boundaries. So like, I'm not answering the phone after a certain time. I'm not texting you back after a certain time. If I'm meditating or doing my Pilates example, my Pilates that I said I was going to do, and you text me right when I'm about to start doing that, you're not getting a text back. You're not getting a text back. If I'm recording YouTube videos and I see your text come across my screen while I'm trying to record, you're not getting a text back until I'm done with everything that I'm putting first in my life, right? No one is the center of your universe except you. And I feel like, wow, what a controversial thing to say, but it's true. Who else are you going to put in the center of your universe? Why are you a sidekick in your own life? Right? Why are you a sidekick it's your life. Why are you a sidekick? And I'm kind of getting like that. Even if you're a parent, you're still not a sidekick in your life. You might be sharing a starring role, right? Because your priorities and your energy shift to be parenting, like, yes. And sometimes the needs of your kid come before the needs of yourself, exhibit, child rearing, right? It's a thing. But you're still a starring role in your life, side by side as you're raising these kids together, right? And for people who don't have children, again, why is there anybody else that is the star of your show? And there's also this energy of like, as within, so without. So the critic within is the critic outside, right? So you are seeing your inner critic mirrored within the people that you've given your power to by way of showing up in the ways you show up and not showing up for you in those same ways because you believe in some sense that they deserve all the support, all the love, all the this, and you are just this side character. So again, putting yourself aside for these people. And it's no longer, in 2025, it's not going to fly. Okay, it's not going to fly. You are the only one that can direct your life. You are the only one that can give yourself the life that you want to have. And you do that in the small things. And like I said, these are messages that come to me, in dream states and in other states as well. And one of my, I joke and call it sleep elations, which is waking up out of my sleep with a thought. And one of them is like, sometimes people aren't asking you to compromise. They're telling you to sacrifice. And I feel like this is really important for like the female body people, the women who are going to hear this. Sometimes people are not asking you to compromise. They're telling you to sacrifice. Well, that message is for a lot of people, but I've seen the ways in which women have been reared and raised to believe that it's honorable and good for them to sacrifice and told that it's compromise. It's compromise. You don't get anything you want, but it's compromise, right? You're not in the equation, but it's still a compromise somehow. And it's just this false narrative that we've been fed about what we deserve and who we are and how to honor ourselves. And so you're wondering why you have no energy, you have no spark, you have no light, you're drowning in indescribable seas of darkness, and joking but not joking. And you don't even realize that you're sacrificing everything that you are, everything you believe, everything you want because you've been told that it's compromise. So look around at yourself and at your life and see, are there places where I'm sacrificing where I shouldn't even be compromising, right? Because again, I'm going to go back to the values. We shouldn't be compromising on our values. We can compromise on like where to have dinner, right? Where we're going to live maybe. But soon as our values start to be pushed and moved and rearranged, that's a sacrifice. And it's not a sacrifice we should be taking. So keep in mind, again, as this is all coming up, there's another piece of this. So we'll put that to the side for a moment and move on to the next point in this. And that is, we project what we're unwilling or unable to integrate into ourselves. And I think for the people who are going to listen to this, the people in this collective who this message is for, what you project is your goodness, is your kindness, is your light. You project out onto these people who you support and show up for and do all these things for and are like, you know, all in for, who aren't all in on you, who don't show up for you. And I'm going to keep driving that home because they don't show up for you. I don't care who this is. And I know it's something specific. They don't show up for you, right? Ever. And we project what we can't integrate. And you are projecting your kindness, your goodness onto these people. And that's why you're showing up for them. You're going, they deserve this. You deserve this. You deserve the showing up, the support from yourself. And so what projections can you take back? Oftentimes when we think of projections, we think of these negative things. We think of like, I don't like this person. Da, 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 da. And sometimes, yes, we're projecting things we don't like about ourselves on people. But sometimes, and I think specifically this collective, you are projecting your kind-heartedness onto these individuals. And it's not them, it's you. So what projection can you take back and say, you know what, maybe that is me. Maybe I'm like that. Maybe I, have been saying that this person's so great and really it's me. Yeah, maybe it's you. Maybe it's always been you. And that inner critic won't allow you to take back that projection because you don't even think, you don't recognize yourself. And so taking back that projection, how can you recognize yourself as kind? Not a good person. Okay, put that aside. It has all kinds of judgments on it. You don't need those judgments. How can you take back and recognize that you're kind? That you support people, that you show up for people, that you practice what you believe, that you have these certain values of family and faith and different things, whatever they are, whatever they might be. And maybe you need to sit down and write down what your values are. I value like my health very highly because I think health is wealth. And if you don't have health, you don't have anything. And I remember that anytime I've been sick because, man, health is really great. It's fantastic. Some people value spirituality. I value spiritual. I'm here talking about energy and projections and karma and all that. Like, I value spirituality. I value spiritual practices and integrating somatically, energetically, the parts of myself, the shadow, all of that stuff. Like, I value that. I value asking myself, like, what have I been lying to myself about? And how can I come into alignment and right with myself again, right? So those are just some of my values. And if I'm not living in accordance with any one of my values, I'm not going to feel very good, right? I'm more likely to get sick. So if you are just feeling off and this, just ick, maybe it's time to sit down and discover your values and discover whether you're living in alignment with those things or not. And that is going to be important moving forward because, again, time is timing. Okay, 2025 is not the year to mess around with living outside of your values, with being around people who don't support you, don't love you, and don't care for you. And again, I'm going to circle back around, be their karma. It's not mean. It's probably for everybody's highest good for you to be their karma, because they need a reckoning and you need to step up. And you've always deserved that. It doesn't matter what anybody's told you. It doesn't even matter what that voice in your head is saying. Okay? You deserve more. You've always deserved more, whether or not you believe it. And one day, I hope that you will. If you like what you hear, please follow the podcast, like, comment, share, give me a little bit of a review or whatever on the Spotify app or the Apple app or wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you have any questions, always comment. I love your questions. I would love to have a segment in the podcast where I answer a question about energy, work, chakras, any of the trauma, inner child healing, any of the stuff that I've talked about. Would love if you have any questions. You can always DM me, email me, or in the comments ask a question. And I will see you next time. Bye.